we're back. Now, let's take a look here. Alright. So let's talk Motec data. Alright, you can see we're at Daytona here right now. Let's just jump out of the room here for a second. Let's take a look at this Brazilian fella. He's grinding the wall. What do we have for lap times on these fellas? 53.8. Come on, man, you're faster than that. And who's the other guy? Oh, the other two guys, yeah. Well, see, he doesn't know this setup, this car. You can't be too hard on him. Let's get all our information on here. Let's change target car. Let's go to him. Exterior view. So we got a new guy out with us. However you say that. He's from Brazil, running the 99. And this car is wavy as shit. He's probably way too loose. But, like I was saying earlier, we're going to focus on this Motec thing here right now. So, let's just pause the audio on this. And bring this Motec thing up. So here we go. All kinds of data acquisition. Let's have a look here. We got no data, so we got to load in our data. So these here, these files, you can see we've extracted these. Now let's look at Indianapolis because we just run Indy. Now we got some files from right here. Let's bring this. Anyway, Reflex Neop. So add him, and we'll compare him with Red Party Hat. So add him, and we'll open. Now it's going to show the dominant one, which is right now it's the first one we picked, was Reflex Neop here in the top right. He is all primary colors. Now when we add the second guy in, everything you're going to see is going to be white. So it doesn't matter if he's this green throttle or this G-force lateral stuff down here, it's all going to be white. So let's add him in. So over here on the data, you can look at all his lap times. So Reflex did this on 2nd of March, and it was at 8:40 at night. And this was actually the race. He did 50 laps. Okay, this was the whole race that he did. And you can see his differentials between the laps. There's lots of kind of neat little data you can get in. His fastest lap, let's look at that, was a 54.5. Now that's blistering. And Motegi with Comfort Soft tires, full horsepower. So we already have him highlighted. He is this throttle. Okay, but we want to overlap. So the whole purpose of this video is to show you the little things you can do to see what the fast drivers are doing. You know, am I coming onto the brakes too early, or am I coming on the brakes too late? Am I throttling off too fast, too early? How, you know, it's all kind of like, what's my inputs different from his? And you can really look at him here. So let's compare him with Red Party Hat. His fastest lap was 55.3. He only did 4 lapper for this video, for this data. So let's bring him in. He's white, so we can compare these two. White's Red Party Hat with the fastest 55.3, and we have Reflex with the 54.5. Okay, so it's a like 8/10, less than a second. So that's a lot of time. And we're looking at the 2 best laps. Okay, you can zoom in here. This is from the start, and this is from the end. You can see down here this little red car, this little red dot. This is where it starts, and it'll end there too. So this whole screen you see here, this is a 1 full lap. Now sample. We want to look at driver. And what that's going to do for us is bring in RPM. It's going to bring in our blue up here, which just look at the colors. Don't look at the white. The colors Reflex. So the blue here is the speed. The green is the throttle. The steering angle is obviously the steering angle. This orange, and then you got your G-lat with the car, so you can tell. You know, if you let right off and fire that wheel to the left, you're going to shift that weight. You're going to have a whole lot of G-force. Yada yada yada. Anyway, but what we're going to pay attention to is the throttle. Okay, this is this right here, you can see as I move this slider, see that, watch this red dot down here, okay? When you move that, it goes along the track, okay? So you want to know what's he doing in turn 1, so let's bring it back. So this is turn 1 right here. You can see, if you zoom this in, you can see right here that this green is where he lets off the throttle. Bam, he drops it. This, you can see the red dot down here. This is where the fast lap is letting off the throttle, reflex. The slow lap is driving her in there. He's letting off right here. Okay, so reflex is getting off even before he starts to turn. Now what that's benefiting him here really, when you think about it, is, and look at his steering angle down here. As soon as he lets off, he turns. You can line this up. His steering angle, neutral going straight is in the center. He's turning here, bam, and he's giving it jabs, jab, jab, okay? Now, let's look when he lets off the throttle. He's turning different, but you got to remember that his setup might be changing it a little bit. He might have a little bit different setup. But you can see that when he lets off the throttle here, he hasn't even started turning yet. And when he does turn, he doesn't turn the whole way. So he's already got this car. So based on that alone, he's got the car a lot looser. And he lets off. Now, the one thing that Reflex does different than I am, he's on and off the throttle. Which to me, because you can call it whatever you want, but like for me, with iRacing and stuff, that really upsets the weight of the car, being on and off the throttle, that can actually slow you down. But here it seems to be beneficial. Keeps that in a slide, and he's really good at controlling that, and it works because he beats me. He's faster. So that's what you got to do. He's on and off the throttle, and he's keeping the speed up. You can see, I wish this stuff was out of the way here, but anyway, let's bring it down. See here, the blue, that thing's still in the way. Anyway, let's go back to this one. This blue is actually over here. You can look at core speed. Reflex is on the left with 158. One. So anyway, so he lets right off the throttle. That's another thing you want to look at is letting off the throttle, dropping it. It puts the weight, bam, forward to the car. Gets that nose down and grips, and he's already got the wheels turning. He's already turning left and drops throttle, the weight goes to the forward just like if you were braking. That gets that car to turn. And then once he gets it to where he wants, he's maintaining his slide. He's going through the corner. He's not giving it too much. It might be a little too much here. He's starting to pull away from the center. He sees his nose going more toward the wall. I let off a little bit, keep my speed up, my RPMs. And this is where you can see here he's starting to, he does this into the entry, into the center of the corner. And once he's in the center, down in here, it's not even this. This is hard to see because there's actually like a massive banking here. He gets down in and he's on, so he's lets right off and he's thump 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 as he's turning down and into the corner. And then once he gets it down, you can see how the nose will push in, start going to the inside, and then you can come on the throttle, and he's slowly jabbing it more and more and more and more. So he's on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off, and he's on, right? So he's okay. And then it's full throttle all the way through here. Oh, Jesus, I'm an idiot. This is Indianapolis. This is why it doesn't make sense. I was thinking Motegi. But yes, okay. It's the same idea. It's a sharper turn. He's coming off. He's coming out of 2. This is where that mid wall is. And then this is his throttle into 2. At Motegi 1 and 2, like I was trying to figure out why this didn't make sense. But anyway, you can see right here, the slower lap, he's driving in too deep. He's not letting off early enough. He needs to let off earlier. It's the same kind of idea going in where he's on and off. But this pattern is because he's a controller driver. This is a wheel. This pedal, you can be a little bit more progressive with it. Now he's coming out of 2. Now look at the speeds here. If you look when he's coming into 2, let's look right at coming into 2. Reflex is 164 miles an hour, and Party has 156.4 miles an hour. So he's definitely faster. You can see the blue line. right up here. See this? Actually, if you look, you can barely see it. But right here, there's a little blue line. It slowly goes down, and then it starts coming up. Where this throttle position, where he's off, on, this real aggressive progression, drops way down in speed, and then he starts making it back up. This time where he's down here, this is where he's losing all his speed. This is why this white line never crosses this blue line. This is why Reflex's speed is so much faster into 2. And then into 2, once again, habit repeats itself. He's driving in too late. Okay, Reflex is letting off here, and you're talking 20 meters later, then he starts to let off. And once again, he's off, and then he slowly thumps it a couple times and back onto it again. That's what seems to be with turn 2 at Indianapolis. When that second turn, when you get it down in, right on entry, you let off, and then you get right back on it, and it'll, but not too fast, because you don't want to take all the weight on your nose. I would be a little bit more progressive here than this thump. This big thump here is going to put a lot of weight to the rear and tighten the front end, and, But I'm not a champion, so I can't talk like one yet. Same idea, Reflex. Party Hat here, but he's off and right back on and off again, right back on. Let's look at the speeds here. Reflex loses a lot. He's driving in deeper. This is why you can see Reflex is dropping a lot more speed. And Party Hat's not dropping as much. But he's getting onto the throttle. See? All this right here. This is the key. Racing is all about drag racing from exit corner to entry of the next corner. Tyson's drag race starts right here. He's full throttle. Okay? Party Hat doesn't start till here. So you can see how right there when he comes on the throttle, Red Party Hat comes onto the throttle here. Reflex has already been on it here for this amount of time, and his speed's already faster. And as they both have it fast, have full throttle, Reflex is slowly getting faster and faster and faster and faster. And he's got him. He's beat him. And you can see right here is 162. And the other guy, like if you want to round it off, 161 and 162. That's a lot of difference in speed. And this is out of the exit of turn 2. Okay? That's out of the exit of turn 2. That's your straightaway speed. It's already about 8 miles an hour faster. Now let's zoom back out here. This is where this gets tricky. I'm going to bring this back here right there. Okay, let's look at the rest of the laps here. Where are we at? Now this is the speed. So at the drag race at the line, what are the speeds? Reflex, 183. Red Party Hat, 179. 4 miles an hour. Bang, he's beat him. He's beat him into turn 3. Once again, Red Party Hat is... Now, I use this, I'm not like harping on Red Party Hat. He is a good driver, but this is not the fastest he's ever done. He's actually done very well. I'm just comparing one of his crappier laps to a good lap. That way to get the message across. A lot of times you think that guy is so much faster than me, I need to drive it in harder, I need to get on and off the brakes. It's actually the opposite. You need to get off the throttle and get on the brakes sooner. Because of that right there, once you're off, you get off the throttle sooner, you can get back on it sooner, and your straightaway speed is going to be a lot faster. And that's where you need to benefit. Your speed is through your straights. Because right into that turn, he's got him by 4 miles an hour. And once again, habit, just like in 1 and 2, in 3, he's driving in too late. By the time Red Party Hat gets off the throttle, Reflex is back on and stays on. All this time in here, on and off, full throttle for Reflex. He's gone. Now, he does screw up here because if you look... Oh, no, that's right. This is in turn 4. I thought this was hitting the wall. It would be back here if he was going to hit the wall. But you can see right here this little jitter. Chin chin. That's when he come on. He knew he come on just a little too early. Right? He's like, oh, shit, I let it come on because he can feel that wall's going to come up. It's going to be there too soon on exit, so it comes off a little bit and comes back on. So just a little minor error right there. He should have waited and come on right about here and then make that progressive. We're not perfect, but there's little things you can do there. So let's look at the rest of the lap. This is into turn 4. Turn 4, once you get it down in there, you turn, you just let off. You can see here, once he lets off, see this turning angle here? Actually, that's the G-force because he's already turned. If you go actually to this other driver sample, it'll compare turning ratios too. So if you look, see he's already doing some serious turning. He's getting it turned. He's full throttle while he's turning. Then once he's down in to turn 4, once he's down there on that white line, then he throttles off. So that's a key thing. Do you turn then throttle off, or do you throttle off and turn? Depends on what corner you want to do. Here, it's better to drive it down in there than let off. But if you look back at turn 1 here, wow, that was really, looking back here, turn 1. Let's look at that. See, you can see he's actually, and he does it again. He turns, then he lets off. So he's turning before he's letting off his throttle. He's getting he's getting the direction of the way he wants the car to go before he distributes the weight. He's got that wheel turned. I'm going left. Bam, off the throttle. And then as soon as that weight transfers forward, it's actually going forward to the left. It's not going forward. If you let off then turn, your weight wants to go straight because it's centrifugal force, momentum, just like Newton's law. It wants to stay in the same direction. Get it. Tell it where you want it to go before you let it go. You know, point the cat out of the cage in the direction you want it to go before you release it. It's pretty hard to get it to turn once it's already decided it's going straight. That's kind of a weird analogy. But anyway. Now let's get back here. Let's finish this up. So like we were saying earlier, it's coming into 4. He's turned. Then he's let off. And that's just a gradual. You don't even let it off 100%. That's another thing you want to look at. He's not dropping it. He's coming off pretty progressive. A little bit and then off. I find the potentiometer, like the first centimeter of movement is a lot. And then that next centimeter is actually about half. It's not progressive. It's kind of exponential in the way it works. But anyway, and then I'm talking the throttle on the pedals. And he runs a G27 Logitech. And you can see here, Party Hat is driving in to the corner a little bit deeper. This whole section is just all about shedding a little bit of speed because the tires can't handle that. It'll actually slide out to the wall. So you have to get rid of it. You enter about 159, 160 miles an hour. You need to get it down around 157. So that's all about getting around 157. Maintain that 157 and go. Here you can see you come on a little too fast. You just dropped it just a little bit just to keep it at that 157 because he didn't want to be at that entry at 158, 159 because he knew he'd be hitting that wall and exit. Party Hat is doing that little speed shedding and he's doing a lot more aggressive. He's doing it a lot later in the turn. You can see down here at this red dot, Reflex is doing it here. Red Party Hat's doing it right in the middle of the turn, so a little bit different. As the car is driving down into the corner, that's when Reflex is getting it off. Party Hat's driving it down into the corner, and then when it's in the corner, he's doing the load shedding. And now let's look at the speed all the way to the checkered flag. A 183 for Reflex and a 179, another 4 miles an hour faster. And that's how he beats him with a lap time of 54. 4? Why is those times? Those don't seem right. 54.5 compared to a 55.3. So you're talking almost a second. And if you're doing a 100 lapper or 51 lapper, pack her up, go home. So there's just a little quick thing about that. So you can use your data acquisition stuff. And let me show you real quick how you actually pull that out of your PS3. So let's drop this back out here. So what you want to do is you need a USB stick, preferably empty because these files are somewhat big, not huge. Plug it in your PS3. And then you go load your game up. Come bring it up to the main page. Okay. Let's get out of this. So this is where you go when you load the game up. You're here. And then you want to go over to Gallery. And you need to do an event and save the replay. And when you go to that replay, like here, let's say Indianapolis, that we did the other night, there it is. Instead of hitting play, you'll see it right down here. Extract data from Otech. So I'm going to do that right now, actually, if I have a USB stick handy. Yeah, I do. Okay, so I'm going to put the USB stick into PS3. I'm going to extract the data, say yes. It's going to do its transfer. It takes a minute. And that'll do its thing. Okay. Now what you need to do on the website is you need to go here. Motec. If you just go to Google and type in Motec i2, it'll bring this in. This is your site where you go to your downloads. Motec can also be used with iRacing. I use the Landis, the McLaren thing. What am I doing here? I forget where you actually go for this software. Right here, your i2 data. What you can do is you can go Gran Turismo. That was terrible spelling. You can just type in Gran Turismo 6 Motec. Okay? And when you click on that, that'll bring it up. That'll be right there. That's the Gran Turismo 6. And you go download now and you install it. Simple package, done deal. So, Gran Turismo 6 Motec, Google it, comes right up. Download it, install it, done deal. You can see it's still transferring. And that'll bring you to this software. And then I'll show you here in a minute how you get your file uploaded into it. It's taking a minute because we did quite a long race there in Indianapolis. Well, not long. It was 50. I mean, it took 54 minutes to do it. It was 51 laps. And so we'll just wait for that for a minute. It's kind of good, like I find, like with CS racing, with the guys that we have with Tyson, Neop and ACDC and a couple guys. I mean, they go out and they're like, man, how do they hit these laps right off the bat, or how are they doing that? You know, it's really hard to find sometimes that extra 2 or 3 tenths. And you can bring up this Motec data and you can see, well, a lot of the time you don't even really need to do it. All I can tell you is if the other guy's faster, you just need to let off earlier. Don't think that driving it in is going to help you anymore. But at the same time, like you gotta have a good setup car. You can't be running something right off the wall. You gotta have a good car. Man, that's taking longer than I thought. I don't know why that's so slow. If you look on the website, you can go to your standings season 2. So we run this here a couple weeks ago. This transfer that I'm actually doing right now. We did it last Monday actually, and we did it a couple weeks before that. But here last Monday, the one we're actually transferring right now, was round 10. This was the other day. It took. Best lap was a 54.9. So 54.5. So he's got 4 tenths on me on his fastest lap. So I'll be able to upload this and compare these 2 best laps, like mine compared to his. And you can see this whole race, I finished second. He finished 22 seconds ahead of me. 22 seconds. And if you think it only takes about 55, 54 seconds to do a lap, you know, he's almost half a lap ahead of us. In theory, if you did 100 laps here, because we only did 50 laps, 100 laps, this would have played out and he would have lapped everybody. But see, like a driver like that can run fast times, but at the same time, these tires wear out so bad within your 14 lap stint. his average best 10 laps is so much better than everybody. He, as the tire falls off, he can keep and maintain that speed. Yes, his lap times fall off, but not as bad as the rest of us. So within that 15 laps, why we might do 3 or 4 laps and be right with him, once those last 10 laps, from lap 5 to lap 15 or lap 5 to lap 13, we're falling off so much, he's not, and he gets this huge gain, and then he's into the pits and gone fast, and we're falling off again. So after 3 stints, he's got 30 laps where we're doing ridiculous, like 56 seconds, 55.8, and he's still running 55.1s, 55.2s, all race, you know, with shitty tires, and he's gone. And he establishes this huge gap and can easily maintain it. So anyway, there's the file done. So when it's done, it disappears like that. It's back to that. You just exit right out. Just forget about all this stuff. You know, pull the USB stick out of your PlayStation 3, put it in your computer. Bada boom, bada bing. Actually, I'm gonna do something right now and turn off the system. I'm gonna shut Gran Turismo off. But like we were saying, bring up your. So let's drop out of this thing. So bring up a new one. Otech data. These are some previous ones. Let's go file, workbook, new. Next, you can pick different stuff. It doesn't really matter. Circuits, call it something. Let's call this Indy. Whatever you want. Go to next, finish. Brings up the template. Now we gotta load in the file. So it's in this right here. There it is. You can see we did this on the 23rd last Monday. So add it in. Open it up. So there's mine. Now let's go ahead and go back into here. Let's take Reflex's best and add it into along with mine. Shit. Anyway, open. Now let's go to data. And you gotta be a little careful here. Yeah, I'm the green. Okay. Mine's a fit. What? Really? That's it? I'm confused here right now. 55.0. I thought I ran a 44.9. 55 flat. Well, that's fine. Whatever it is, what it is, right? So that might have been a different race I was looking at, and his was a 54, so almost 5/10. Let's bring him in here. So I'm green. He's white. You can see mine was about 5/10 off. I ran the 55 flat. He did a 54.5. Let's just keep it even like that. You can see I'm green, he's white. What's your guess? Oops. Why is that doing that? Look at that right there. He's white. I'm green. He's letting off way before I am. He's faster than me. I'm driving in too deep. We have kind of the same pattern on the way up. He's jabbing a little bit more than I am. I'm a little more progressive. Bump. Same thing again, driving in too hard. He's letting off earlier. He does a lot less than I do. I'm coming off, back on, then I got to make a little bit of adjustment mid-corner because the wall's coming too fast on me, so he's a little better judging in the 2. Same thing in 3. I'm a little better in 3. I'm letting off just a little bit less. He's coming off. See how he just completely drops it and almost falls straight down. He's off and back on. Mine's not as progressive. See, I'm coming off a little less steep, so I got a little bit more speed that I got to manage a little bit more on exit. And our turn 4 is completely different. He's doing it way before I am. He's coming off, getting the speed off. I'm like slowly letting the speed off and on. So right there, I've learned that in turn 4, I got to get off the throttle and back on and get my speed shaved a lot quicker. And just a bit. Like if you look at the times down here from each bar is 500ths. So it's half a tenth. So that little bit there, that's like so very minute. Or is that 5 seconds? Yeah, that's 5 seconds. Each one is 5 seconds. It's 5 seconds. So if you look You divide that whole thing up in 5s. So yeah, you're almost talking a second. I need to let off a second earlier. Get off a second earlier in every corner. And this here is almost a second earlier. So a lot tighter, a lot better, but everything is driving in just a second too hard. I gotta let off. So there you go. There's the Motec thing, and you can go and you can save your worksheet or whatever you want to do and come back to it later. You can take another lap that you did, compare it, see how you're doing better, have some fun with it. I gotta go. Thanks for watching. This is gonna be it should be good doing the live stream stuff. Keep you guys watching and interested. If you have any questions as far as this Motec stuff done, or you need any setup advice, or you have a racing league and you want to get some sponsorships, because when we host for GTOR, or when I host these practices and stuff, we like to give out some shout outs to some of the series that we run with. Just give me a link below. If you actually go below the stream, you'll see our website. If you go to our website and click that link, it'll bring this up. And if you go to driver application, if you fill this out with like, hey, I got some, this is my league, send me a link or whatever, I'll get an email and I can respond to you and we can go from there. So that's everything. Thanks for watching. Have a good night, and we'll see you again. Thanks for following. We'll see you later.